How we doing? Happy new moon. It is 80 degrees outside here in Staten Island, so I've got my coat off. I'm excited as well. We've got some really juicy stories for you all today. Juicy. When I say juicy, I was flabbergasted. I'm so excited for what we're about to uncover and discover today. I'm feeling fantastic. I feel like I'm thawing out. I'm thawing out with this weather. It feels so good, so delicious. Wow, we are feeling good today. We are feeling good today. And you know, I want to, as always, we're going to talk a little bit about the astrology of right now, what's going on in the stars, because there's a lot of shit going on. That's why you're feeling the way you're feeling. It's always why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And you know, it feels like this is our third episode. Only our third episode of Auntie Claire's Spiritual Hotline. And when I tell you, it feels like the energy around every single one of these new moons that we've had has been very chaotic, very hectic. It really has been. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an analysis of what's going on in the stars right now, okay? So we have, I think it's at least 4, if not 5 planets, along with the North Node, all in this weird gap between Pisces and Aries. A lot of these planets are moving into Aries. The sun, the moon obviously just moved into Aries. The sun moved into Aries last week. But Neptune, Big Daddy Neptune, is about to move into Aries. And he's getting charged up there. Neptune is a very Piscean planet. However, Neptune is just a planet of change. A planet of making the dreams a reality. That's why he's associated with Neptune. However, making these dreams a reality, the push that you need is from the energy of Aries, which is why it's so exciting that he's moved into there. Guess what happened the last time that Neptune moved into Aries? Guess. I'll give you a quick minute to guess while I sip on my orange tea. It was the Civil War, for those who weren't sure. It was in, I believe, 1860 was the last time that Neptune moved into Aries. So this energy of power, revolution, strength, resilience is in the air. And it's exactly what we need. Now is going to be the time when we're seeing the separation from who is in it for the people and who's in it for themselves. And that comes to world leaders, that comes to artists, that comes to spiritual practitioners, religious leaders. We're going to see who has been in it. Who has been in it for the right reasons. And Neptune is going to help that. And Neptune is going to help pick out the people who are in it for the wrong reasons. While what happens within the collective energy is more for us to navigate through together, those planets are also affecting you personally. I love you too, my shooting star. Those planets are also affecting you personally. Thank you, sweetheart. The energy is lovely. The weather's lovely. I'm feeling lovely. Thank you so much. But that's really it. It's using the power of that transition from the last sign to the first sign, that rejuvenation energy, that movement from water to fire, and allowing that energy to fill you up. A lot of you have been hearing Peachka talk about being angry, about honoring your anger and honoring your rage. And well, she's been talking about it for a reason. And if that reason isn't right now, then I don't know what else is. So, that being said, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Check in on the people who may not be as comfortable with this chaotic energy, who may not be as capable as moving through this chaotic energy as you are elderly, are disabled, our marginalized people. This is who we're looking out for. This is who we are taking care of as this energy comes in, because we can handle it. Say that again. We have a quick conjunction with Mercury retrograde, Neptune in Pisces. I believe that. Yes, and Venus and Neptune are going to be together in Pisces for the first time in a very long time. And I think it will be the first time or the last time in our lifetimes, which is very romantic if you want to think about it like that. Venus and Neptune don't often get together in the sign where they both like to be at, and they're there. So, for those of you who are in love, for those of you who are in relationships, this might be a nice little respite from this weird retrograde energy we've had. Maybe. And for those of you who are single, you're going to be loving on yourselves even more. 12 hours of Neptune and Mercury conjunct, big deal. I wouldn't be surprised if people are finally speaking from a place of truth in places where they felt like they've had to be quiet about that. That to me is what that feels like. It feels like a wide open throat chakra. And I know we have a question about that actually for tonight, so that's perfect. Now that we've talked about the astrology, we've talked about the stars, we've talked about all of the different transits that are happening, I want to talk about what's been fogging my third eye. You know, our usual segment, what's been fogging my third eye. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk to you about it because it's something that I wasn't even going to talk about this, and I just found out about it the other day, and I think we all need to know about it because it's really upsetting me. It's really upsetting me. And I've seen it before. Okay, I've seen it. We've always seen it. You know, we've seen it in religious spaces. We've seen it in spiritual spaces. We've seen it in all these spaces. And I'm going to be very specific before I get general. I'm going to tell you about what I saw. Some lady, some blonde, old, forgive me, she's probably my age. She's probably a little older than me, but my age, with a bob, talking about if you send $1,000 to her, God is going to assign you one of his personal angels to take care of you and answer all of your prayers and heal you of your sickness and bring you all of the abundance that you could possibly need. And first of all, that's a scam. And she's directly related to these stupid assholes in that place. I'm being very selective with what I say on purpose. Yous know that. Anyway, she is directly affiliated with these motherfuckers, and she is preaching this abundance. It's abundance Christianity, you know, if we're being honest, which what I'm really wanting to talk to you is about is how there's honestly no difference between that and someone telling you to pay them $1,000 to coach you in how to manifest. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. And what it really is noticing desperation and using it. It is spiritually weaponized desperation. To me, it's problematic because, of course, they're preying on, just like what I was saying, the people that we need to take care of. They're preying on the elderly. They're preying on the sick. They're preying on the disabled. They're preying on the underinformed. And of course, some people can say, well, that's their problem. They believe it. They believe that stupid shit, and they're dumb enough to spend their money. Sure, hold accountability. You know, accountability when it's due. Of course, sure. However, when you are targeting people who are already vulnerable, that's some sick shit. And then you're slapping God or spirituality or angels or whatever word on it. That's some sick shit. That is sick. That's evil. That's evil. That's evil. And they're the same people that be saying that they're so connected to God and so connected to source and so tapped in and so divine. Despicable. Despicable. Exactly. Disgusting. Exactly. Horrible. Horrible. That's what you're asking? Would I say something if a loved one was scamming people? Of course, because you couldn't possibly be someone that is morally aligned with me if you're scamming people. We have a problem. We have a discrepancy at that point. At that point, we are not the same people. At that point, you are not the person that I thought you were, and you do not have access to me anymore if I find out that you're doing that type of shit. And now, obviously, those of us who do energy work should be compensated for the work that we do. But if you're saying, give me $1,000 and I'll get an angel to come look after you, says who? Says who? You're not tapped in with nothing. Get out of here. Yeah, that's really been fogging my third eye recently, and I want to talk about it, and I want to continue to talk about it, because the thing that really bothers me is the Christians. And no shade, right? No shade. I was raised Catholic. You know, I get it. I was raised around it. The Christians, they're known for that. They're known for preying on the people who are feeling weak, because then that's how they use the shame, right? And as a Catholic, that's their favorite thing is the shame, right? So it's one thing when the religious folks do it. I don't think it's still not right. But when you're bringing that over into the spiritual realm, into the spirituality space, into the magic space, when we're supposed to be having fun over here, and it's not supposed to be all those fucking rules, and you're bringing all that in over here as well, and bringing that greed into this space, ooh, you fucked up. It's not how it works over here, and I see it not just with the money stuff, but I see it with the twin flame stuff. I see it with the... It's not cute, and karma don't like that. Oh, I look good, honey. I'm thinking I need a new sort of like summery spring like animal print, leopard print jacket or something that's light. I feel like I need something that's a little bit light, but we still have the animal print like I like. I think it's time to get into these questions, to get into these voicemails.
Hey, girl. This is Auntie Mama again. I got a question. For a girl who was starting, learning about candle work and, rituals that you do, God darn it, I tell you, Chucks, at any rate, the candle work, the magic work, how does a new girly start with this? Like, I went out and bought every candle in every color. I got more in the bag here. And I got every candle, and I got the salt, and I'm just curious, how does one start? And if you can give a girl a tip who was once in the church many, many years ago, but now out, and how to get these intrusive thoughts of how I was churched to the present of me, that I am great, and all of, the wonderful affirmations, them teed, what's his name? What you call him? The tall one in the bald one. Yeah, all of them. And your niecey poo, I just love her. I love her to life.
The tall one in the bald
one. How
does
one start? Where should they start? Girl, call me back.
I bought a kit with all the candles and herbs and crystals, but so clueless on what to do with them. If I had a nickel for every time I got this question, I would have a lot of nickels, and that's okay. I think a lot of the time, the basics are the hardest part. The basics are the hardest part because the basics are how you use the information that is given, right? And this is, to me, this is why I love magic, and this is why I love witchcraft, and this is why I love practicing, because it is all of these elements and ingredients that have their own individual meanings, and when you mix them up, it's like making your own recipe. It's like knowing the flavor profiles of different herbs, and the energetic properties of different herbs and colors and elements, right? And then you can mix and match for what you want the spell or the working to do, right? And so it's like the basics, they're the hardest part, but they matter the most, right? It's the fundamentals. It's knowing that your basics are salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, cayenne pepper. It's like you have your go-tos, and then you can branch out for whatever else you're wanting to bring in, right? So the basics, the salt, the cinnamon, the bay leaf, the candle, right? That's all the basic. That's all the basic elements. But then when you get into the colors are then the I don't know cooking enough, I guess. The colors are the type of tin, right? The colors are the difference between making cupcakes and making a cake, right? The colors, I don't know if that's a great analogy or not, but it's the colors have their own meanings as well, right? So it's a lot of knowledge and a lot of information, and that's why all the witches back in the days had spell books, because how the hell is anyone going to remember everything if they don't have it written down somewhere? Okay, so it's knowing what the meanings of everything is for you, right? So for basics, right? We're doing a manifestation spell, a money spell, a bringing it in spell, an attraction spell for abundance, right? Abundance, green, the color of the earth, the color of nature, it is the color of money, but that's not why we use green. We use green, it's also for the heart. It's also for allowing ourselves to be in love with what we're asking for, to be in alignment with what we're asking for. Salt's a neutralizer. Salt removes any unwanted energy. Cinnamon, it is a little bit of spice. It is also an abundant property. And then expanding from there, right? You can get very specific with what you want when you know why you're using it, right? It doesn't really matter what it is as long as you know why you're using it. And I don't mean why you think you're using it. You know why you're using it. Meaning you believe it. Meaning you feel it. Meaning it's something that you know intrinsically within you. You know that you associate protection with the color yellow. Get yourself a yellow candle. That's simple. That's simple. It's going along with what you believe. Your belief. And if you're still discovering what the belief is, then I would suggest learning the basics of the properties of these things, right? The spiritual properties of different herbs, the spiritual properties of different crystals, the spiritual properties of colors. And then knowing that, you get to mix and match. I did my first spell a couple weeks ago to rid my home and life of negativity using the black candle and making a bowl of protection herbs. Beautiful. 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 I fucking love that. Exactly. It doesn't have to be over the top. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be. It doesn't have to be. Absolutely. I was going to say that as well. And like I said earlier, I was raised Catholic. The first thing you see when you walk into a Catholic church is all the candles. You make a donation and you light a candle for your loved ones. That's the first thing you do. That's the first thing you do. And that's just the power of fire, right? That's when we get into the elements, right? On my altar right here, I typically keep all 4 elements there. I will have incense going, smoke. I have got all my plants there, earth. I will have, smoke, air, right? earth. I will have a glass of water on the altar. Water. And I'll light candles, fire. I will often include all of the elements within my practice, within whatever spell that I am doing, or even just honoring my guides and my deities and my ancestors. They love all of it. It's a balancing act, right? Because you don't want to underthink it. You don't want to do shit willy-nilly, because then it's going to be pointless. But you want to do shit with intention. You don't have to go above and beyond, but as long as you know exactly why you're doing every single thing, it's not too much, it's too little. You're so welcome. Doesn't matter how the candle burns. Should we read how the candles burn so in the side of the glass? I mean, you can. You should. There ain't no should. There ain't no should in my experience, in my practice. There's no should in Peachka's practice either. If you want to, do it. If you don't want to, fuck it. That's very much what it comes to. When you absolutely can read candle wax. You can get information from the candle drippings. You can get information from the flames. You can get information from the smoke. You can get information from the soot, just like you said. Absolutely. Absolutely. Divinity, well, let me not even say divinity. Divination, the process and the practice of divination, which is seeing messages through something else, you don't know if you got it until you try. And divination can be done with anything. You are the magic. Everything else is a tool. Exactly. So it's like, exactly. It's like having a whole tool shed full of things, but you didn't learn how to swing a hammer. At least look up a little bit on how to swing a hammer. What's a hammer for? It's like trying to screw in a screw with a hammer. Oh, that was the other half of your question. That is, to me, the biggest difference between, and what a lot of people have to unlearn from coming out of religion and a lot of religious trauma, is this structure of rules, right? When it comes to magic, witchcraft, even spirituality, it's less that these are strict rules that you need to abide by, or you're going to be doing it wrong, or you're going to be punished, or whatever. It's not that. It's more along the lines of, these are more definitions than rules. It's more guidelines, suggestions, ancient wisdom that has been passed along, versus if you do this, then God's going to be mad at you. He has bigger fish to fry, truthfully, than worrying about if you didn't go to church or not. Worrying about if you're doing yoga. God could not care. He's got other shit to do. And, you know, it's knowing that a lot of that religious upbringing is a lot of just control. And we all know this, but that control looks like sometimes fear or manipulation or abuse or shame within a family structure, within a home structure. It's the way in which these divine guidelines have been used as weapons. That's a problem to me. Thought I was gonna cause chaos by stirring my citrus house boil the wrong way. That's hilarious. Honestly, that's hilarious. No, sweetheart, you're not gonna fuck anything up by doing that. But the caveat, right? Asterisk. You will if you believe that you will. If you believe that you fucking it up is going to fuck it up, is going to bring something bad, then yes. Don't do it. Then don't do it. But that's why being informed will allow you to release those irrational fears. Absolutely. That Catholic guilt, she'll be there for a while. I'm still unlearning her. We're gonna get into some of these texts. I have a couple really interesting text messages that I wanted to read out for yous. And I was talking about it a little bit earlier today while on the call. It says, "Hey Auntie Claire, what is your advice on balancing the throat chakra? I was over here thinking that my throat was blocked, but I've realized it's overactive. Help!" In all caps. Thank you. You're so welcome, my shooting star. An over or underactive throat chakra doesn't necessarily mean you don't talk enough or you talk too much, right? It's not about how much you're talking. It's about what you're saying, right? And an underactive throat chakra, or a blocked throat chakra, as they say, right, isn't necessarily just the energy of you aren't able to speak up, or you don't have, you're not that talkative. It's more along the lines of, are you speaking truthfully? Are you speaking from the heart? Are you speaking in alignment with the rest of yourself? Are you speaking from a place of honesty, authenticity, or are we putting on a performance? Are we speaking our truth? That to me is, and I think it's less about a blocked or overactive, right? It's more about, are we in alignment? That's the way that I like to think about all the chakras. Are we in alignment? Are we in alignment with the rest of ourselves, right? I like to think of it as like, if the energy centers are going down your body, right, and the throat chakra is here, it might be just moved over a little bit. It might be out of alignment with where it needs to be in alignment with the heart. So if we're feeling like we're not utilizing our throat chakra in the way that we want to be, let's use that language instead of blocked or overactive or under, whatever the fuck. If we're not utilizing it the way that we feel like is in alignment with ourselves, the best way to do that is, first of all, with yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, if you can't tell the truth to yourself, it's not going to be easy to do that with anybody else, or to anybody else, for anybody else, with anybody else. That is a you thing first. And we're also the first ones we lie to. You know, some of the people are saying that they've never thought about an overactive throat chakra, because that's why I say you have to really consider the source of where you're getting this information. Because to me, the only thing that I can maybe define as an overactive throat chakra would be someone who doesn't know how to keep things to themselves, right? This person who maybe has done a lot of work to release any blockages of speaking their truth, and then they just speak truth, and don't know when to shut up, maybe. That would be how I would define an overactive throat chakra, is someone who doesn't know when you might not have to say anything. And that's also not lying, right? It's being able to discern when maybe we need to speak or when maybe we don't need to speak. That would be how I would define it. However, it really depends on how you define it for yourself, how maybe the person, that is what you meant. Okay, perfect, beautiful. So that is just a practice of learning when it benefits you to share your truth, because it doesn't have to be for anybody else. Not only is there so much info available, but there's also a lot of practitioners who are defining things for their own practice, and what they're not disclosing is that this is their practice, and they're teaching their practice. A lot of practitioners are teaching it as this is what it is across the board, and that's not right. That's not true. That's not real. A lot of these terms are arbitrary, and we get to define them however we want to. But you must know that when you are being mentored by someone else, or you're going to someone else for the spiritual services, that you are learning through their lens of interpretation, right? So you take what they give you and then you apply it to what you mean, right? You apply it to what you know. You apply it to what resonates with you. Even people like Peachko or like me, don't take what they say at face value. If it doesn't feel right to you, then leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. The majority of the spiritual journey is learning how to trust yourself, learning how to trust what you know, learning how to trust the divine, learning how to trust the unknown. And what a lot of folks tend to do is fill that unknown with other people's definitions. And while that can be very inspiring and exciting and expansive, that can't be where that ends. That can't be sufficient. That can't be enough. Okay, let's get some cards. Let's see. I really love this question though. I think this is exactly the type of stuff that we need to be talking about. Balance. 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 Sometimes keeping the truth close to your chest and seeing who shares the truth that you resonate with first versus just giving all of your cards. Sometimes keep your cards close to your chest and see who is willing to show their cards and if maybe they work with yours. Strategy. These two came out first. Yeah, another balancing card. There's that King of Swords again. And the Ace of Swords. Wow. And the Swords talks about our communication. And the connection between our thoughts and what we say. And I think sometimes when we don't know, and I'm just going to use this term just for the fun of it. When we don't know when to shut up, that can give away so much of your power. Because you're just giving information freely. And that information can be taken advantage of. And used. And I would also argue that if you don't know when to shut up, then you don't know when to leave people alone either. And you don't know when to stop giving either. And you don't know when to... It's detachment. It's detachment. It's detachment. And there's a need for validation here. That's why. That's why the thoughts continuously come out, because it feels like there might be a habitual pattern of looking for someone to validate your thoughts, looking for someone to validate what you think, looking for someone to validate those expressions. Which, if you didn't need the validation, then you wouldn't say them out loud. Then you would keep it to yourself because you believe yourself. And I would also assume that it maybe gets you into some conflict that you didn't want either. Because you think, well, what's the harm in sharing my truth? If it's not a safe place to share your truth, then there's a lot of harm. Then there's a lot of harm. It's allowing it to be for yourself first. Because when we don't even allow it to be for ourselves first, and we're always looking for it to be for someone else, that's when this mastery, this potential mastery of the thought and the expression, and those two working together, that's when that gets all fucked up. Because our mastery isn't even ours then. It's for someone else. And that's shitty. That's ugly. So there you go, sweetheart. I love that. Okay. I need to trim my bangs, I think. Fuck. All right. Let's get into our final call of the evening.
Hi, Auntie Claire. I'm just calling in because I'm curious. I have smudged my new apartment. It's my partner's home that I moved into recently over the past few months. And I've smudged the apartment numerous times. And yet there is still an aura of something kind of lingering in the air. It's maybe a bit depressed over the past couple, weeks, I suppose, since winter or so. and I'm just trying to see if there are still ghosts in this apartment, or there ever were ghosts in this apartment that I just can't get rid of. And if so, are they trying to have sex with me?
What?
I'm just curious because my partner and I we're open, hopefully soon. To be honest with you,
Open to having
we're
sex
great,
with
but
ghosts?
we're trying to be, going to a new phase of our relationship. And I'm just curious, if those ghosts that may or may not be lingering in my apartment in our visit to
DTF?
Smudge, if they are, in this case, sexual poltergeists, and what their intentions are in that regard or otherwise. Thank you so much for your guidance. It is very appreciated, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so. I'm on the phone. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. It shocked me again hearing it the second time because there was some things that I feel like the first time that I heard it, I heard the "Are they trying to have sex with me?" and then my brain just shut off. So I wasn't listening for the rest of it, and I really thought he was gonna ask if they were like they're opening their relationship, and he's like, well, we're kind of into the ghost. We're kind of hoping to open it up to a supernatural being. Oh my good God. I've definitely participated a few times. Okay? I've definitely experienced the energy a few times, and I can't lie. I don't hate it. And so I can understand why they may be wanting to open up the relationship to whatever might be lingering in the house already. I just feel a little discombobulated from all that. I feel like I don't know how to respond. Well, and that to me, right, that's where I start to think about a sexual poltergeist, right? To me, poltergeists are spirits that are fucking with you, spirits that are intentionally trying to bother humans, right? And so what he didn't specify was if he was experiencing it. What he was just asking was if it was that, without really giving any context. But I'm gonna read between the lines and say that he's fucking this ghost. I think he's fucking this ghost, or this ghost is fucking him, and maybe it's not making him feel very good. So let's get a message. Well, especially if you're smudging the house, to me that might if you're smudging the house and it's your boyfriend's place, if we're subscribing to this energy that there's an unwanted entity, this entity might be attached to your man and not the house. But let's see. And the depressing energy, well, depending on where you and your partner's placements are, that might just be from the planets, But let's see. Sex with a ghost. Can you believe it? See, this is exactly why I wanted to do this show. Thank you. Oh no. Why am I getting the feeling that your boyfriend's bad vibes? Oh, I don't like that. To me, I feel like you're at this point where you're trying to make a choice. This ain't even about the ghost, honey. This ain't even about the ghost. The ghost is the least of your worries. What this is giving me, and I would never read these cards this way, other than with this situation. This to me feels like your boyfriend's energy is so open that it's causing damage to himself. And damage is very strong. Damage is very strong. It's causing problems that could lead to damage. And you might be getting caught in the crossfire by getting yourself involved with this. This feels like a trap. And honestly, this energy might even be trying to help you out and push you out on purpose. This might even be your guides helping you get you out of here. Not even on a you're not welcome, but you don't want to be here. Absolutely. Yeah. Hello? Pop, 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 pop. Hello? The proof is in the pudding. Something is not what it seems here. Call please update, but more importantly, give me a call and let me come out and smudge your place and see what I feel. And let me meet your partner. Let me meet your partner. I wouldn't doubt that this person has fire sign energy and this Aries season has been fucking with them. What we all thought was fun and games, having sex with a ghost. All right, my shooting stars. We are going to end our episode, as we always do, with a collective message for everyone. Whether you're seeing this live or you're seeing this in the replay, this is a message for us all over this next lunar cycle up until the next new moon. Let's get into this final message for this Aries new moon with all of these planets in all the same spot, opposing Pluto. What is in store for us? What do we need to hear? Thank you. I love this. I fucking love this. All right, first and foremost, new seeds being planted. New seeds being planted. Not only are the new seeds being planted, but the seeds that you have already planted are starting to blossom. They're starting to bloom. You're starting to see the sprouts. Maybe even in places where you thought the soil was dead or you thought the soil wasn't fertile anymore. You're realizing, oh, there is growth here, so I can plant more seeds. I can plant more seeds. You're planting more seeds. And learning how to nourish the seeds that you've already planted. However, you are being asked not to give in to any potential negative thoughts, negative thought patterns that resist your potential. There's a letting go of the way in which we used to criticize ourselves, judge ourselves, stay up all night thinking about the things that we didn't do or we didn't do right. No more of that. Turning that inner critic into the person who advocates for yourself. Rather than ganging up on yourself, you are going to stand tall for yourself. You have to. You have to. For your inner child. And for some of you, if you're like me, you are going to be feeling the pull to move out of this inner child celebration phase and into more of an inner child discipline phase. Unlearning the way in which you were taught to discipline yourself. The way in which you taught yourself how to get your ass in gear. How to do that. That is not at your own expense. Letting go of this feeling of this is all I can get. This is all I'm going to have, so I better hold on to it. No, baby, there's more coming. You got all these new seeds being planted. There's more coming. You can stand to let go of some of it. Some of it is not wanted anymore, not needed anymore. The first thing, before I ask for clarity, the first thing that I felt with this Queen of Swords, you've been her already. You've been the queen that is sharp with her mind, sharp with her tongue, closed off emotionally, maybe. Intentionally, maybe a little bit cold. Strategic. Being that way for too long leads you here by way of feeling like you have to lie or withhold some things because you don't want to be open and honest, because there's still that voice that is a little self-deprecating. All signs point to a new era. All signs point to a new beginning. A turning of the tides. It's time. It's me season, babes. It's time for you to step into your new you. The new you. Welcome. Look, again, on the bottom of the deck. I'm so grateful for you all sharing energy with me and hanging out with me here tonight. I love yous. I love you, my shooting stars. Thank you for hanging out with me. Make sure you follow Peachka on all platforms. Make sure you join us over on Patreon. Make sure you subscribe here on Twitch. Do all the things. Subscribe over on YouTube. All of this stuff. I love yous. If you'd like to tip or donate, there is a link below this video. It says donate. You can do that. I love yous. Thank you so much. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline.